Okay, hello everybody. Again, I want to speak about something that I heard on a video that talks about they're teaching free will, easy believism. I'll spit it out here in a minute. And they're against works salvationist. We're not saved by works. So both of those are false. Free will, easy believism, all that's false. God knows who he's going to elect. So this person says, I don't understand, through her teaching and all. She said, I just don't understand, speaking of the work salvationists, she said, I just don't understand why they don't get it. Well, they ain't gonna, I know that's bad English, they ain't gonna get it. And here's why. Let's look at John 10:27. John 10:27. He says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Now, we're not sheep, or we're not goats, and then believe and then turn into sheep. No. Tares don't turn into wheat. Goats don't turn into sheep. But my sheep hear my voice. He says, I know them. Remember what he said in Matthew chapter 27? He says, depart from me, for I never knew you. He says he knows his sheep, and they will follow him. When they hear his voice, they will follow him. 1 Corinthians 1:18. 1 Corinthians 1:18 says, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish its foolishness, but unto us, the sheep, which are saved, it is the power of God. And as Paul said in Romans 1:16, it's the power of God unto salvation. And this person is the sheep hear his voice. They come to him, but the preaching of the gospel to those who are without, who are not sheep, I'll say it that way, who are not sheep, they don't get it. They can't get it. So what do? They come up with another way, another gospel that's not in this book. And we could go through all that, but on short time, so I'll try to keep videos short so there more people hopefully are apt to listen to them without taking up too much of their time. So 1 Corinthians 1:18, the gospel is foolishness to them. 2 Corinthians 4, verse 3, he says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. That's work salvationist. That's the sinner who is lost, who never comes to the Lord in any way, form, or fashion. They may come to the Lord, or seemingly come to the Lord through accepting Christ or getting saved. That's not biblical neither. But they keep preaching that. But if the gospel is hid, it's hid to them that are lost. And you say, why does God want to hide the gospel, the good news, hide it from the lost? Because what he said in 1 Corinthians, it's foolishness unto them. They won't receive it. They just don't get it. But the sheep, they get it. Ephesians 2:1, and you, Paul speaking to the Ephesian believers at Ephesus, he says, and you hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sin. You hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses. Who's the you? The sheep, the believers. Those who believe biblically, as this word says, for God has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. God has called us out of darkness. We don't bring ourselves out of darkness, and we don't make ourselves alive. We are dead in trespasses and sin. We were dead, but now we're alive in him. And then the all familiar verses, Ephesians 2, 8 and 9. For by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. So take one side of the ledger and say grace, faith, grace, saved, and faith. That's on one side. And that, grace, saving, salvation, by his grace through faith, that is not of yourselves. This side, that is not faith, grace, and salvation is not of yourself. Because of God's grace, he has given us the gift of faith, and the result of that is salvation. And that, he says, Paul says, is not of yourselves. You can't go accept Christ or get saved. It is this grace, faith, and results in salvation. That's the gift of God. That's not a gift of you quickening yourselves out of your dead trespasses and sin. So, it's the gift of God, not of works, nothing meritorious within man. But God knew his sheep and his family before the foundation of the world. And he came, God sent his son to save his people, the believing ones. That's what John 3:16 means. And it doesn't mean the whole world. So we could go into all that. But again, on time, not of works, lest any man should boast. So we're saved. We're lost the sheep are lost in a world of sin. And in due season, just like the Apostle Paul said, that when Jesus came to him on the Damascus road, in due season, we will hear the voice of the shepherd, and we will come to the shepherd, because the sheep know his voice. But they don't understand. The sheep hear his voice. Everybody else does not. And they don't understand why they don't get it. All right, see you next time on the Master's Call.